There was so much tragedy this weekend, it's hard to process. Tributes are flooding in after news broke last night of the apparent homicide of Rob Reiner and his wife, Michele Reiner. Rob became a star in the iconic sitcom All in the Family and went on to direct beloved movies like This Is Spinal Tap, The Princess Bride, A Few Good Men, When Harry Met Sally. And I was lucky enough to get directed by him in Ghost of Mississippi. He was also an outspoken activist and quite a guy, quite an amazing man. And then there is what happened in Australia at Bondi Beach. At least 15 people were killed in an anti-Semitic attack on the first night of Hanukkah at Australia's Bondi Beach. Leaders from around the world are denouncing this act of hate and praising Ahmed El-Ahmed, who is the hero that confronted and disarmed one of the shooters. I don't know how to process this because it just, and of course then there's the shooting at Brown.
Yeah. At Brown University,
yeah,
two
at Brown
students
University.
killed.
I mean, it's each thing in its own body is horrific, you know. And this is this? I don't even have words. I don't know what to say. So I leave it in your hands. How are you all processing this?
I mean, I didn't know Rob personally the way you did. I just remember watching him on All in the Family
right.
with Archie Bunker, and actually having a television show that aired out these issues that families have. You know, Archie Bunker was this sort of bigot, and then he's got this son-in-law, I think he called him Meathead, and they're having these difficult discussions that I had never seen on television before. But what do you, I know I asked you a little bit this morning, Whoopi, but what can you share about Rob?
You know, just he was a friend. You know, I literally saw him the last time I did the Kennedy Center because we were honoring Billy. Yeah. And this is when Billy got the Mark Twain Award. But we were, you know, we were together quite a bit. And he was a wonderful director and a guy who was a stand-up guy, you know. And he fought for the stuff that was right.
Yeah, he was such an activist. You know, I was reading about how he, you know, definitely helped to pass legislation about same-sex marriage, which was so important. Was helping pass legislation with educating our young people, you know, universal pre-K, things like that. And then I hate to put a downer on it and make it political, but President Trump texted yesterday and said, you know,
Don't read it. Just tell him that it's there.
He talked about Trump, that he died because of Trump derangement syndrome. And I just don't think that that's something that we should be hearing about. I think we should be saddened by the gun violence that we're seeing. I used to think that gun violence was just an American phenomenon, and now we see this sort of anti-Semitic attack in Australia.
On the first day of
Hanukkah, which is so disgusting and disturbing. And then, you know, kids going to college at Brown in the middle of finals, getting murdered. What are those families going through? Why all of this sickness and hatred going around the world, not just in
and
this
it's all
country?
awful in its own lanes. I want to speak to the Australia thing. We're seeing a massive uprising of anti-Semitism globally, but in this country, there's a divide on the right now, actually, whether Republicans want to embrace figures like Nick Fuentes, who is hates everyone, just so you know. He hates all of you, but he absolutely hates Jewish people, and it's not criticism of Israel. It's nothing you can apologize away. He's a bad dude. And people are giving him platforms. Tucker Carlson has embraced him, and there are people denouncing him. But I think it's important to watch when you start normalizing this treatment of anyone. We've seen it in different forms, and right now, more than ever, this is on the rise. Australia, who has really strict gun laws, has seen 5 times the crimes against Jewish people than they have in the last decade. So there's a problem. The bell is being rung. I do want to also say that the hero Ahmed al-Ahmad put his life on the line to attack a man with a very large gun. So it's so reassuring.
And got shot.
And got shot and was injured. But to know there are people like that in the world, that is the reassuring part. But I would hope that the Jewish people hold on to what Hanukkah stands for. It's the lights, it's the resilience, it's the no one can dim us. And I hope they hold on to that today, because it's got to be extra hard.
When the Brown University news broke on Friday, I immediately called a good friend of mine who's got a son there. Her son was sheltering in place, terrified in his dorm room. That lasted for 12 hours. He is now home. The semester was over. They were in the middle of exams. But something that really hit me was there was actually a survivor, Zoe Wiseman, of the Parkland shooting in Florida, who was a student at Brown University. How much have we failed our youth that there are children out there who are now survivors of 2 mass shootings? And, you know, on Rob Reiner, I just want to say, one day I looked at my ex, and he had slipped into my DMs because he watches...
Rob Reiner slipped into your DMs?
Yeah, he watched news. He knew everything that was going on. At the same time that he was making brilliant film work, he was also deeply engaged. There wasn't a cause he didn't care about. He cared about immigrants. He cared about equality and justice. He spoke up in defense of democracy at a time when so many in the media industry, so many with a platform are afraid to speak. He put his money and his mouth where his heart was. And for Trump to have put that out today, I'm gonna say it. You know, damn it, there's an American family grieving. This is a tragedy, not just for the family, but for all who knew and loved him. And for the President of the United States to make this about him and a way to attack Rob Reiner because he exercised his American right to speak up with what he disagreed with is shameful, is disgraceful, and out of all the disgusting things that Donald Trump has done, this is right up there.
And I would simply echo that all of these are tragedies in their own right, and I don't want any one tragedy to take away from the other, but I was really struck over the Bondi Beach shooting just because so many of my closest friends happen to be Jewish, and there's this feeling of, on the first day of Hanukkah, they are, Jews in this world, not just our country, are sensing something that they are begging their friends and their allies to feel too. There's an incredible stat from the ADL that says in the US alone in 2024, there was a 344% increase in anti-Semitic attacks. But this is a global phenomenon. And I remember being, I went to Auschwitz with Vice President Pence and the former Polish president. And I remember leaving and asking a distant family member, how could the Holocaust have happened? I couldn't wrap my mind around it. And I hate to say that 5 years later, I can see it. I see an indifference to hatred, I see an indifference to bigotry, and I see an indifference to the horrible alarm bells being rung about anti-Semitism in our world. And I'm begging people to care. And as you made the parallel, which I think is important, about this Parkland survivor now being in another school shooting, a Holocaust survivor was killed. The world has failed these people. If you survived the Holocaust and you are gunned down by an anti-Semite decades later, it's not right. And my prayers are with all of the people grieving right now.
You know, it's... If we can wrap our minds around the awfulness of these things, then we can open our hearts to all the people who have had to deal with this. All the women, all of the men, all of the people of color, all the Jews, all the folks who have had to deal with this struggle. I don't understand the man in that White House, because he talks so much about Charlie Kirk and caring. And suddenly, this is what he puts out. Have you no shame? No shame at all? This is can you get any lower? I don't think so. And what do you have to say about what's happened around the world. Where is our voice as Americans? Somebody's got to speak up for us. Our hearts are breaking through all of this, through Rob, through what's happened at Bondi Beach, what happened at Brown, and you don't find the time to say, as Americans, we hate what's happening. You ain't my president, man. I'm gonna make a correction here. As it turns out, yesterday, apparently, you know who put his condolences out to the people who are looking down at us from heaven and the folks at Brown. But this is how he followed it up.
About Rob Reiner.
About Rob Reiner. So, my bad, you did say something. Not what I would like to have heard from you, but you did do it, so there you go.